By late 1948, India and Pakistan are barely 12 months old. The physical and emotional trauma of partition is still entirely fresh, with millions displaced in sprawling camps across the region. But while the physical borders have been officially drawn on a map, a highly volatile internal conflict is brewing inside both nations. The leaders of these new governments are terrified of an enemy operating right in their own backyards, their own domestic press. A cross-border army is a visible threat, but unchecked domestic journalism has the immediate power to incite local panic and spark widespread violence. This government memo references an early attempt to control the media, an April 1948 agreement forged in Calcutta, designed to calm the press. That April agreement was a total failure. The press in both dominions blatantly ignored the rules. Instead of de-escalating, newspapers were publishing highly exaggerated accounts of the news, intentionally causing panic and alarm among an already traumatized population. The ultimate fear of officials in Delhi and Karachi was that these local publications were repeatedly suggesting a war between the two new nations was inevitable. If the governments didn't urgently seize control of the narrative, journalists were going to literally write a fatal secondary war into existence. To stop this, they drafted this expanded inter-dominion agreement in December 1948. The sheer scope of this new censorship net is massive, targeting every single form of media: books, pamphlets, radio broadcasting, and films. Interestingly, the governments realized their primary threat wasn't the major publishers. As the document notes, high-level first-line newspapers generally cooperated with state requests. The real danger came from the smaller second- and third-line grassroots journals. The document ordered special vigilance to shut them down. State censorship couldn't rely on gentlemen's agreements with elite cooperative publishers. It required a militant, street-level crackdown on neighborhood printing presses. This crackdown quickly expanded into the arts. Provincial film censors were instructed to explicitly ban any unapproved cinematic exhibitions from reaching the public. To enforce this, they weaponized archaic colonial laws, specifically the 1867 Press and Registration of Books Act, giving them the authority to confiscate physical books and pamphlets. But the most extreme measure is detailed here on the second page: the creation of a joint binational oversight task force. This consultative committee required entirely equal participation from both rival governments: one minister, 2 government officers, and 2 press representatives from each side. These representatives were instructed to travel and meet alternately in Delhi and Karachi, sitting down at the same table to police their media together. 2 nations, standing on the absolute brink of war, were forced to build a unified, cooperative bureaucracy just to suppress the free speech of their own citizens. Looking past the mechanics of the censorship, the ideological core of the agreement reveals the exact ideas these governments were desperately trying to erase from public consciousness. The strict mandate of Clause 3 explicitly targets reunification, banning any propaganda that advocates for the amalgamation of India and Pakistan. The concept of reunification was highly dangerous to both capitals. If citizens were allowed to openly mourn an undivided land, like East and West Bengal, it directly threatened the political legitimacy of the new borders. Physical cartography was entirely insufficient. For the states to survive, they had to actively construct a rigid psychological divide in the minds of the people who lived there. This 1948 agreement serves as a chilling blueprint for modern nation-building. It proves that drawing a line on a map is useless unless you also build a massive apparatus to police the public imagination, ensuring those borders are never questioned.